Sathyanarayana sir and HOD sir, with your permission, can we start?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Rohit.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, Jyoti ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
you are
Yeah, you
audible.
are audible.
A very good morning to one and all. It's with tremendous pleasure I, Jyoti, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE and CET, deem it a great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this webinar on cryptography and its application in data security, organized by Department of ECE and CET. Nothing in life is to be feared. Now, it is only to be understood. So it is now the time to understand more so that we may fear less. With that cheerful quote, on behalf of NCET management, first and foremost, I am gratified to welcome Dr. S.V. Sathyanarayana, Professor and HOD Department of ECE, JNNCE, College of Engineering, Shimoga. Despite his busy schedule, we are extremely glad for gracing this occasion with your presence and grateful to you for accepting this invitation. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I'm elated to welcome Dr. Jitendranath Mangara, Principal NCET, for always being the constant support and cooperative throughout. I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Mohan Kumaris, Professor and Dean QA, for his continuous support and guidance. We welcome you, sir. I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Nagesh KN, Professor and HOD Department of ECE, for his unwavering commitment and determined efforts. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I'd like to extend my warm welcome to Dr. Rohit ECE, Associate Professor as well as a convener of this webinar, for his continuous support and guidance throughout on organizing this webinar. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I extend my hearty welcome to Mr. Mahesh MR and Ms. Sunita M, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE and Coordinator of this webinar, for the exceptional coordination throughout this webinar. We welcome you, sir. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I extend my warm welcome to the organizing committee and the faculty's Department of ECE for their valuable contribution in organizing this webinar. Last but not the least, I offer my hearty welcome to all the participants joined for this webinar. We welcome you all. Heading towards the integral part of this webinar, I would now like to introduce today's guest speaker for this webinar, Dr. S.V. Sathyanarayan. Dr. S.V. Sathyanarayan has completed his BE in ENC from Mysore University in the year 1993 and pursued ME from Bangalore University in the year 1999. He completed his PhD in the area of elliptic curve cryptography from Nepal University in the year 2010. He has 27 years of teaching experience. He's been a senior member, IEEE and Hexacom member, IEEE Bangalore subsection. He is a member of Cryptology Research Society of India, Kolkata, and a member of Association of Computer, Electrical and Electronics Engineer, Trivandrum. He is a life member of Indian Society of Technical Education. He has delivered keynote lectures in various national and international conferences. Has published papers over 35 conferences, 16 international journals. He's reviewed a book on public key cryptography for Pearson Asia Publications. He's co-authored a book, Introduction to Computer Security with Matt Bishop for Pearson Publications 2005. His area of interest and research are cryptography and network security, image and video processing application, computer networks, embedded systems, real-time systems, and information theory and coding. With this short and span introduction of today's guest speaker, I would now like to hand over the session to Dr. S.V. Sathyanarayan, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your nice introduction.
Thank you, sir.
At this point of time, I thank you so much for inviting me for delivering a webinar on cryptography and its application in data security, which is my research area. I am proud and blessed to say that I am the student of Dr. K.N. Haribhat, who was earlier working for NIT Surathkal. Later, he was there in Nagarjuna College of Engineering Technology. During 2008, 9 and 10, I was part of NCET because I used to visit NCET frequently. And I do remember traveling in your bus from Yelahanka to Nagarjuna College. That was a delightful time which I spent with my guide and in the college. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Stop presenting screen. Sir, you can start presenting, sir. Sathyanarayana, sir.
Yeah, I am doing it. Please give me a feedback whether my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
sir.
visible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today's talk is on basics of information security and crypto, which is normally called as cryptography. And there are some simple applications in data security. This is the outline of the presentation. I'm introducing the security systems, various algorithms of cryptography. I'll be taking a little deeper into symmetric key ciphers, some introduction on public key systems and authentication, another area of information security called as stegono, some essence of stegono. I'll not be going in detail. Finally, I'll be summarizing and inviting some questions from the audience. At any point of the time, if you feel interrupting me, you are free to do that. As we are connected online, there is no facial interaction. But anyway, this is the time of the day. Security is necessary to protect information against unauthorized access. Increasing use of electronics means of data communications, coupled with the growth of the computer usage, has really extended the need to protect the information. Various examples of secure communication includes various business transactions, voicemail, images like map of protected area of military importance, that is DRDO applications, defense applications, medical data like X-ray. These are all the data which need to be communicated securely. So at this point of the time, it draws the attention of cryptographers. Cryptography is a technique used for secure transmission of information. What are the requirements? These are the simple list of requirements. Disclosure. You may not be interested to disclose some very secret data. Traffic analysis. When a data is transmitted, some attackers may analyze your traffic. You may have to prevent that. Masquerading. Masquerading is a technique of pretension. Somebody may be pretending somebody's maybe pretending like some other people. You may have to pretend, you may have to prevent that. Modification of the content. Some data is there, somebody may tamper that data and send. You may have to protect that. Sequence modification, very important security threat is sequence modification. Some data is there, it is given in some sequence. If you change the order of the data, in the sequence of the data, complete meaning may change. People may try to do that. You may have to avoid that. Timing modification. You have sent the data, it is interrupted. After some time, it is resend. Just to remove the importance of the data, you are sending later. Repudiation problem. Refusing the transmission of the data. I might have sent the data later. In the later date, I may say that I have not sent. Similarly, I have sent the data, somebody has really received it. He may refuse that I have not at all received it. See, these are all the security requirements where data security plays a major role. Information security requirements which have just listed have changed in recent times. Traditionally provided security mechanisms, physical, administrative mechanisms have been completely changed because we are using automated tools to protect the files. So use of networks and communication links requires measures to protect the data transmission. There are some buzzwords. Computer security, generic name for a collection of tools designed to protect the data and to thwart hackers. Network security, these are the measures to protect the data which is during the transmission. Internet security measures are the measures to protect the data during the transmission over a collection of interconnected networks. Normally, internet security is termed as information security, which is the focus of today's discussion. We are really not touching on computer security and network security. We are touching today on data or information security. It consists of measures to deter, prevent, detect, and correct security violations that involve transmission of information. This is the model of the complete network security. There will be a message. What do? You do some security related transformation. For doing that security related transformation, you are using a secret information called as key. So when that security related transformations are done, the message becomes a secured message which you can transmit over the channel, where the trusted users or opponents are analyzing the medium. Even though opponents or hackers are analyzing the traffic, they may not be able to get the information because you are really not transmitting the actual information. You are transmitting the transformed information. Once it is received at the destination, you would be doing the reverse transformation using this secret information which is communicated somehow to the destination. Using that, you can do the reverse transformation and you can get the original information. So this is the very generic diagram as far as the security of the security of the information is concerned. There is something called as access security. Access security is a technique where, suppose in the famous companies like TCS or Infosys or Wipro, they will be having their private servers. When the data enters to that server, there will be a very strong check whether this particular data can be accepted or not. Whether this data can be accepted or not. So you may be having something called as gatekeeper functions to protect the information in an organization. So this gatekeeper function is really called as providing network access security. Generally, it is really called as data is passed through something called as firewalls. Now let us move to the information security variants. There are two major concerns in information security. One is called as the privacy, other one is called as the authentication. Privacy is keeping the information secret or keeping eavesdroppers, which are really called as the unwanted listeners. Eavesdroppers are really called as, they are not authorized to listen, authorized to watch the information transmission. So you have to keep the information away from them using the techniques called as cryptography techniques. There is another concern called as authentication. Authentication is a problem of keeping the information untampered or integrity of the data is maintained. So in authentication, there are two types. One is message authentication, other one is user authentication. For keeping intact the message authentication, you will be using cryptography techniques for maintaining the authentication of the user, integrity of the user, we normally use something called as digital signatures. Digital signatures. So confidentiality techniques can be handled using two major techniques. One is called as encryption, other one is called as stegano. Encryption or cryptography techniques, they transform the information, but they do not hide the message. Rather, they transform the message into different form. But anybody can see both the parties which are communicating in secret. And it will be suspicious. When the two parties are communicating, if the data is looking something strange, suppose if you are transmitting an image, the image will just look like a mosaic, floor. Whatever image you transform or encrypt, it will look like a mosaic floor. So when an attacker sees that, he will very easily suspect, yeah, something important communication is going on. So cryptographed transmission will be always suspicious. That is a very important point to note. But in case of the stegano, it hides the existence of the secret message. They do not use encryption technique. Ideally, nobody can see both the parties are secretly communicating because normal communications are going on. Image will go as an image only, but inside the image, there is some secret which is transmitted in a hidden manner. That is why transmission looks very innocent. Transmission looks very innocent. The beautiful example for this is in olden days, if a secret information need to be communicated, they were using human beings. They were completely shaving the head of a person. They used to write something bad, then they are allowing the hair to grow. Until the hair to grow, they are suspending the transmission. Once the complete hair is grown, he is sent to the destination. There once again it will be shaven and they were going to read the secret information. This was the beautiful example which was quoted in literatures as far as the stegano is concerned, because steganography is a technique where the existence of the secret message is hidden, but whereas in case of the cryptography, you can very easily know that some secret information is being transmitted. So this is the gist of confidentiality technique. Now let us go into cryptography. Study of sending the messages in disguised form so that intended recipient can only receive it. There are some terminologies: plain text, ciphertext. Plain text is transformed into ciphertext. This process is called as encryption or enciphering. Ciphertext to plain text. The reverse operation is called as decryption or deciphering. These are all the buzzwords. Plain text, as I told you, is the original message. Ciphertext is the coded message cipher. Algorithm for transforming this plain text to ciphertext. There will be an algorithm which is used to transform the plain text to ciphertext. There is a key, which is the information, secret information used in cipher, known only to the sender as well as to the receiver. Encrypt or encipher is the process of transforming or converting plain text to ciphertext. Decrypt or decipher is the recovering ciphertext from plain text. Cryptography is the study of encryption principles or methods. Code breaking or cryptanalysis it is a legal operation, you see. There is a hairline difference between hacking and cryptanalysis. Cryptanalysis is a test actually for the strength of the algorithm. It is the study of principles or methods of deciphering the ciphertext without knowing the key. So this is a legal method to test the strength of the algorithm without knowing the key, how much time I am taking to break the algorithm. Whereas hacking is, it is a trial and error method. It is not a legal method. It is an illegal operation which is done by the attacker. So that is the difference between cryptanalysis and hacking. Hacking is an illegal method. Cryptanalysis is a legal method which is used to decipher the ciphertext without knowing the key to test the strength of the algorithm. Cryptology is the science, or it is the field of both cryptography and cryptanalysis. Cryptography and cryptanalysis put together, that science is really called as cryptology. They are characterized into three major groups. Type of encryption operation which is used. Based on that, we have substitution ciphers, transposition ciphers, and product ciphers. Based on, depending upon the number of keys used, algorithms are termed as private key or single key systems, or symmetric systems, or two key or public key, or asymmetric systems. There are two major classifications based on the number of keys used. In case of the single key or private key or symmetric key, both at the sending end and receiving end, you are using a same key for operation. But in case of the two key or public key or asymmetric key, in the sending end, for transformation, we use one key which is kept secret with the sender, and there is another key which is generated by that single key. Normally, it is made public. Using that public key, the receiver will recover the information. That is why it is called as a two-key system. For transmission, you use one key. For taking the data back at the destination, you use different key. That is why the system is an asymmetric system. Based on the way in which the plain text is processed, the algorithms are classified as block ciphers and stream ciphers. In case of the block ciphers, the plain text or the data is processed as a fixed key system. 64-bit ones, 128-bit ones, 256-bit ones. Block-wise, the data is processed. For every block, common key is used for transformation. But in case of the stream ciphers, the information is processed byte-wise. And for every byte of the data, different key is used. Note this point. The complete information is divided into bytes, which is of 8 bits long length. For every 8 bits, you are using a different key. Only the key is used only once. That is why the system is called as a one-time pad. So stream ciphers is my area where I did a very little bit contribution to get my PhD. So this is where I really stand. This is the pictorial representation of the cryptography algorithm. As I told you, based on the number of keys, it is divided into private key and public key. In private key systems, we have block ciphers or stream ciphers. In public key system, we have Diffie-Hellman algorithms and Rivest-Shamir-Adleman RSA algorithms. Diffie-Hellman algorithms are based on difficulty of exponentiation of a large integer. That is why it is called as exponentiation problem. The system is based on exponentiation problem. But in case of the RSA, it is based on factorization problem. In the sense, a large integer is made public. Your security of the system is based on factoring that large number, if you are able to factor that large number, you have really broken that system. That is why RSA is based on the factorization problem. Diffie-Hellman is based on exponentiation problem. Now let us see some details on symmetric encryption techniques. They are normally called as the conventional techniques, or it's called as private key systems, single key systems. Many names are there. So here, sender and recipient share a common key. All classical encryption algorithms are private key. Algorithms or systems are termed as classical once they have been completely accepted by the general public. Anything it may be. Whenever you are talking about a movie, it is a classical movie because every individual has said that, no, it is a fantastic movie. General public has accepted that. That is why the movie has become classical. Similarly, all the good old techniques of the encryption are private key systems. It was only type prior to the invention of public key in 1970s. Public key systems, which are two key systems, are evolved after 1970s. Before that, everybody was using private key systems. Now also, some of the applications, they rely on private key algorithms. So this is the model. Plain text is there at the input side. You have algorithms, transformation algorithms. Now you can term it as encryption algorithms. Secret key, which is shared between sender and recipient, is used for the transformation. Example is data encryption standard or advanced encryption standard, DES or AES. Transformed ciphertext is transmitted. In the receiver side, using the same key, reverse of the encryption algorithm is performed, called as decryption algorithm, and plain text is recovered. So this is the model. What are the requirements? There are two requirements for secure use of this algorithm. Your encryption algorithm should be strong. That is the first requirement. A secret key is known only to the sender and the receiver. What is Y there? Y is the ciphertext. E stands for encryption algorithm. K stands for the key. X is the variable. EK of X. X is the data. That X is taken back, or reverse operation is done using the decryption algorithm using the same key on the ciphertext. So it is, the function is called as dk of Y. What is the assumption here? Encryption algorithm is public. It is known to everybody. And also the channel which is used for the distribution of the key is secure. The key might have been told over phone. If that particular phone channel is assumed to be secret, or whenever your friend has met you, you would have given that your key to him. Somehow our assumption is key is transmitted to the sender receiver secretly. These are the assumptions. There are some attacks. Ciphertext only attack. Here, algorithm is known, ciphertext is known. Using some statistical techniques, the attacker may attack the algorithm. Non-plain text. Some part of the plain text may be known to you, or plain text and the ciphertext is known to the attacker. That time also, see, what do you mean by attacking? Attacking is a technique of getting the key. See, you are attacking is not, you are not interested in getting the plain text. That is the later part. You are interested to get the key. Once you get the key, your complete system is broken. How to get the key? using plain text and ciphertext, you may do some reverse operation and you may get the key. Or you may have some chosen plain text. And using the ciphertext, you may get the key. See, people misunderstand that attacking is getting the plain text. See, attacking is not only getting the plain text. Attacking to the system is you are getting this here. The very important thing is the secret key. Once you get the secret key, your complete system is broken. So this is about attacking. Various methods are brute force. Always possible to simply try for every combination of the key. Suppose if you say that your system is a 32-bit system, you try all the 2 to the power of 32 combinations. At some point, you may get it. That is called as brute force. See, very interesting statistics there. For a 168-bit key, time required at a rate of 10 to the power of 6 encryptions per microsecond is 5.9 into 10 to the power of 30 years. So this, because you have to go for 2 to the power of 168 iterations, no? Alternatives. So, see, this is a statistics. That is why brute force technique is really not practical. There is something called as unconditional security and computational security. See, your system is unconditionally secure means no matter how much computation power you have, you cannot break the system. Then your system is unconditionally secure. That is, you cannot get the key. Computationally secure means given some limited computing resources, the ciphertext cannot be broken. Such a security definition is really called as computationally secure. So normally we design computationally secure algorithm. For this computational power, this is secure, like that. Classical techniques, substitution ciphers, where the letters of the plain text are replaced by some other letters or by numbers or symbols. For example, I'll use my digital pad and I will show you some examples. For a substitution cipher. Substitution cipher. For example, you are having the data like Nagarjuna, for example, you are having. So now what do you do? One example of the classical substitution cipher is replace every letter by its third letter. This is the example, classical example. So that means N is replaced by R because R is the third letter. A is replaced by E. G is H-I-J-K. A is once again E. R. S-T-U-V. J is J-K-L-M-N. Third letter. N is R. A is E. See, this is the cipher. Simple example. This is a substitution cipher where you are replacing every character by some other character, or you may be replacing character by numbers, or you may be replacing characters by some special characters. That techniques are really called as substitution cipher. Substitution cipher. Caesar cipher. or Julius cipher. It is really invented by Julius Caesar. I told you, no, third letter. That only I did it. So meet me after the toga party if it is information. M is replaced by P, E is replaced by H, like that. One time pad. I told you, if a truly random key, as long as message is used, the cipher will be secure. It is called as one time pad. I told you, no, each and every byte is replaced by some other byte. The key is used only once. Such a technique is really called as one time pad. Transposition ciphers. Here, it's also a classical cipher. Here, the message is rearranged in a different order. You are not replacing the letters by some other letter, but you are permuting the order of the letters. Sequence. So then it is called as the best example is the rail fence cipher. You can just see. Meet me after toga party is the information. You are arranging the message as a matrix. You are arranging the message as a matrix. Very interesting. See, suppose transposition ciphers. What do you mean by transposition? Suppose the text is meet me. You may be having a matrix. So in that matrix, what you do? You write in a column, me, like this you write. E, T, M, E. What do you do? Read column wise, not row wise. Read column wise. Read column wise. That means, sorry, read row wise. I'm very sorry. You are writing column wise. Read row wise. Read row wise. You write column wise. Write column wise. And read row wise. So it is MEM ETE. So the order of this sequence order is changed. You are not changing the letter. So that is the difference between transposition cipher and substitution cipher. Same thing I told you, row transposition. There are also various techniques. You can just see the key. Key is 3421567. Meaning is, it is a 4x7 matrix. Total 7 columns are there. But while you are transmitting, you will be transmitted in a different order. First, you are transmitting the third column. That is why it is, see, attack postponed until something 2 is there. That is the data. That you have written row wise, row transposition. But while you are transmitting column wise, but not also in the order. First, you are transmitting the third column. That is why the key is 3. Next, you are transmitting the fourth column. After that, you are transmitting the second column. Then you are transmitting the first column. Then you are transmitting the fifth column. Then you are transmitting the sixth column. And then you are transmitting the seventh column. So reorder the columns according to some key before reading of the rows. Such a cipher is called as row transposition cipher. Then you will be having hybrid ciphers or product ciphers, where both substitutions or transposition ciphers are used. 2 substitutions make more complex substitution. 2 transpositions make more complex transmission, but substitution followed by transposition makes much more harder. So this is a bridge from classical to modern ciphers. Always, that is what modern ciphers are always hybrid ciphers or product ciphers, where some substitution is done, followed by some transposition is done. So like that, you are using substitution and transposition one after the other in a different sequence. Modern block ciphers, one of the most widely used cryptographic algorithm is the data encryption standard. Now there is a comparison. What do you mean by a block cipher and what do you mean by a stream cipher? Block ciphers process messages into blocks, each of which is then encrypted or decrypted. Like a substitution on very big characters, 64 bits or more. Whereas stream ciphers process the messages bit by bit or byte by byte while encryption, and every byte is using different key. That is block ciphers and stream ciphers. So let us see that in a different way. You can just see block ciphers. See, this is first the message is, this is the message. It is divided into blocks of fixed size. That is the first step. Each may be 64 bit. 64 bit each, you are dividing it. After breaking the information into block of 64 bit, it is given to the algorithm. This is the crypto algorithm, where for every block, common key of 64 bit is used. That is the important point. For every 64 bit, same 64 bit key is used to process. So this is the cipher. But whereas in case of stream cipher, this you have to understand very clearly. That is why I am discussing it once again, writing it very slowly for your benefit. So here, message is divided into bytes first. Byte or bit. Normally we take byte. This is 1 byte. 1 byte it is. And normally the algorithm is an exclusive OR operation. Very interesting. Exclusive OR. Simple exclusive OR. You may wonder. Simple exclusive OR operation. That is the algorithm. That's all. And here you are not using a key. You are using a key sequence. It is very important. It is not a single key. It is a key sequence. And this is the cipher. So in stream cipher, what is the important thing that you have to note? Byte by byte, information is processed. Byte by byte, information is processed. And for every byte, different key is used. Different key is used. So here, the very important requirement is, very important challenge is design of important. Here the challenge is, what is the challenge here? Challenge is random key sequence generation. That is the challenge. Random key sequence generation is the challenge in stream ciphers. And another important point to note is algorithm. What algorithm I am speaking? Your transformation algorithm or encryption algorithm is simple. Hence, it is suitable for tactical applications. Hence, suitable. What do you mean by tactical applications? Tactical applications are the applications which has to be processed in real time. Tactical or real-time applications. Stream ciphers are very much suitable because your encryption algorithm is very simple as exclusive your operation. But only very important challenge here is how do you really generate the key sequence in a random fashion? That is the challenge. So in 1949 itself, Claude Shannon introduced the idea of substitution permutation networks. Substitution permutation networks are the very important block which is used in your block ciphers, which provides something called as confusion and diffusion. What do you mean by confusion? It makes the relationship between cipher text and the key as complex as possible, because cipher text is always public. So by attacker should not get the key just by seeing the cipher text. So you have to make the relationship between the cipher text and the key as complex as possible. Then what do you mean by diffusion? It dissipates statistical structure of the plain text over the bulk of the cipher text. In the sense, always your plain text is having some statistical structure. Suppose if you see an image, it is having a statistical pattern, the input image. When you dissipate that using the key, the cipher text should never have a studyable statistical structure. Completely the statistical structure should be diffused so that attacker should never get any idea for doing the statistical attack. That is really called as diffusion and the confusion. So complete strength of the algorithm is based on confusion and diffusion property. Now let us, in the remaining time, let us see some details on stream ciphers. Rohit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
How much
Yes, sir.
time I have? Another remaining time?
Remaining time, you may take up to another 20-30 minutes, sir. No problem. Up to 12, you can plan.
I don't know. I have no. You don't have any other plans later? Any other class or something like?
No, sir. No, sir. Not like that.
Okay.
It's here. Yes.
Okay. So if the audience are having some questions, we can take up in between if it is appearing monotonous.
Students, any questions? If you have, feel free to ask.
You can post your questions on the chat box, or organizers can get me the questions. Anything is possible. Sir. I'm just giving you a short break of 1 or 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we can take up the questions at the end. So I'll try to finish it off. So next part is stream ciphers. processing the plain text in small blocks, as I told you, bits or bytes. And the encryption function may vary as plain text is processed. That is also permitted. The system's security is entirely depends on how intelligent you are in designing your key stream. So this is the algorithm. This is the structure. You will have an input message. Rather than the single key or common key, just like in block cipher, you are having a, unlike, you are having a key stream here. And you will be getting the cipher. And in the destination, you will be doing the reverse operation using the same key stream generator. That is why it is a symmetric system only. Both at the sending end as well as at the receiving end, you are using the same key stream generator. So stream ciphers divide the plain text into characters and encipher each character with a key from a random key sequence generated by normally by a shift register circuit. They are very fast to operate and are much faster than block ciphers. They may be further divided into synchronous or asynchronous or self-synchronizing systems. So this is the detailed block diagram where I told you, the key stream generator is a pseudo-random sequence generator. Encryption algorithm will be as simple as an exclusive OR operation. And this is a classical stream cipher system. You can just see here, one time pad, 110, the sequence, plain text, 010 is another. You can just see one exclusive OR 0 is 1, one exclusive OR 1 is 0, 0 exclusive OR 0 is 0. So 110 plain text is converted into 100 cipher. It is provably secure, provided by key k is random. Key k is very long as the message, that's why it's one time pad. And every key is used only once. So key generator, what are the requirements? It should have a good randomness distribution. It should have a long period as the length of the information. The generator should be highly complex. For a good system, one needs the key stream generator should follow the following properties. Linearity. To control the period of the key stream, the system may be linear. To control the randomness of the key stream, the system, key stream generation system should be linear. But if the system is non-linear, it will control the complexity of the system. So combination of linearity and non-linearity will generate or to get good randomness and preserve both period and complexity. This is a very nice concept. So when you are designing a key stream generator, you should see that it is a very good mix of linear and a non-linear system. And I was telling you, see, this is a medical image encryption, one of the application you can just see. The input image is a brain image. We have encrypted it using our system. You can just see your cipher image after encryption, whatever you are seeing, it is just looking like a mosaic floor where you cannot get any clue of the input image. That is a very interesting thing. You can just see here. Various schemes are there. About 11 schemes we have used. In all these schemes, you can just see the output cipher image is just looking like a mosaic. Very interesting. And to measure the strength of the system, we use a tool called or algorithm called as histogram. Histogram is a concept of plotting image pixels on the x-axis in the y-axis, you are plotting the number of occurrence of the gray level. 256 gray level image, 0 gray level, how much as time it has occurred. Gray level 100 has occurred, how much times? You can just see in the input image, you can just see 1 or 2 spikes. But in the output image, you can just see how many number of spikes are there. So if you are able to get a very flat histogram, you can just see the scheme 6 and scheme 7. Almost all the pixels are occurring equal amount of time. That is why that's a very interesting thing. So if all the pixels occur with equal probability, then the attacker cannot get any clue of the input image. There will not be any residual image in the output. So residual information is an information which gives some clue about the input image. It will not be there at all. Such a system is a secure system. Just to summarize your private key system, it is traditional and key is shared by both sender and receiver. If this key is disclosed, communications are compromised. Also, it is symmetric, parties are equal, hence it does not protect sender from receiver forging a message and claiming is sent by the sender. So this is about the private key systems. Now let us see something about public key systems. Public key cryptography provides most significant advantage in the 3000-year history of cryptography. They use 2 keys, one is public, other one is private. It is asymmetric since the parties are not equal. They are not using the same keys. It uses clever application of number theory concepts. Complements rather than replaces private key cryptography. You cannot say that public key systems replaces private key systems. No, they are complementing it. They go together. They go together. That's about the public key systems. It is a 2-key system. Now let us see what is public key cryptography. Involves use of 2 keys, a public key which may be known to anybody and can be used to encrypt the message or to verify the signature. For both the things it is used. Private key is known only to the recipient and they are used to decrypt the message or sign the signature or create the signature. It is asymmetric because those who encrypt messages or verify signatures cannot decrypt messages or create signatures. That is why it is asymmetric. So we can just see the little details. It is something like this. So public key systems. It is something like this. First thing is user generates 2 keys. Out of which one is made secret, one is made public rather, one is made public and other is kept secret. In a very informal way you can understand. So what sender does in case of encryption? Second point, in case of encryption, what is done? User A, for example, user A uses public key of B and transmits. And transmits cipher. So what is the meaning? Suppose A wants to transmit to B. That is the scenario. Suppose A wants to communicate with B. So as I told you, B would have generated two keys. One key he would have kept secret, other he would have made public. So that publicly available, just like in a telephone directory. Nowadays it is not there anyway. Some directory public keys are available of users. So A uses public key of B and transmits the cipher. So then what B does, that means this is A, this is your, suppose A is having the message X, some message X. So it uses public key of B. So I will be just denoting it as KUB. So KUB is the public key of B. Using that, it does the encryption and it transmits the cipher. Cipher may be Y. So then what B does? B receives that Y and he will decrypt. For decrypting, he is using his private key. That private key, let me denote it as KRB. And he recovers X. This is what the encryption operation is. At the same time, it can be even used to do the signature. So what do you mean by a digital signature? What do you mean? It's a important application of public key system. What do you mean by a digital signature? See, digital signature is something like this, which avoids the tampering. It does like this. Suppose here also same. A wants to communicate with B. First step is A encrypts using B's public key. Second, A signs the cipher using his private key. See, that is what the signature is. So that is, it generates its digital signature. Generates its digital signature. How it can be shown? So this is X. It uses KUB. Using encryption, it generates Y. Afterwards, another block is there. What is that block? This is the signature operation. For generating signature, A is using its private key, KRA. So this is, output is signed cipher text. So two operations are done. So then what? B verifies the digital signature. Verifies the signature, very important. How does it verify the signature? How does it verify the signature? It encrypts using ACE public key. Very important. It first encrypts the received signed data. I'll be just mentioning it as YS. YS is the signed ciphertext. So signed ciphertext is encrypted using ACE public key, and it verifies. It gets Y back. That is, it verifies the signature. Afterwards, it decrypts the Y using its own private key, and it gets X. So this is the concept of digital signature. Digital signature. For generating the signature, the user uses his private key. For verifying the signature at the receiving end, it uses one's public key, verifies that, later it decrypts the data. So this is something called as digital signature. Digital signature. So this is the essence of public key cryptography. Why public key cryptography is used? I told you, one is you need not worry about the key distribution. In case of symmetric key system, you have the requirement of transmitting the key very secretly to the destination, because sender and the receiver is using the same key. But here sender and receiver is using the different key. It avoids the key distribution problem. At the same time, you can generate digital signatures. So you can verify the signature and then accept. So a public key is invented by White, Diffie and Martin Hellman in 1976. And later it has been implemented using Rivest, Shamer and Adelman in 1977. And it uses large integers. So security of RSA algorithm, at the beginning itself I told, it is based on cost of factoring the large numbers. So this completes the overview of cryptography. So we shall end our talk using some essence of stegono. It is an alternative to encryption. It hides the existence of the message using only subset of letters or words in a longer message marked in some way. It may be using invisible ink, or it may be using hiding LSB, that is, in an image or a sound file, the least significant bit is carrying a very minute information. If we change the least significant bit of a pixel, nothing will change. So in the least significant bit of a pixel, you can hide the information which you want to send. That is a popular technique which is used for steganography. So it is an example. Read this letter very carefully. I am reading this letter. With me, you also concentrate and read. A project leader's appraisal for his assistant. Bob Smith, my assistant programmer, can always be found hard at work in his cubicle. Bob works independently without wasting company time, talking to colleagues. Bob never thinks twice about assisting fellow colleagues or fellow employees, and he always finishes given assignments on time. Often, Bob takes extended measures to complete his work, sometimes skipping coffee breaks. Bob is a dedicated individual who has absolutely no vanity in spite of his high accomplishments and profound knowledge in his field. I firmly believe that Bob can be classed as a high caliber employee, the type which cannot be dispensed with. Consequently, I duly recommend that Bob be promoted to executive management, and a proposal will be sent away as soon as possible. So this is an appraisal letter given by the project leader about Bob. When writing this letter, Bob was sitting in front of the project leader in his cubicle. After some time, after Bob went to the management, project leader sent one more letter. What is that letter? A memo was sent following the letter. This stupid idiot was reading over my shoulder when I wrote this report sent you earlier today. Kindly read the odd lines 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 and 13 for my true assessment of him. This is the second letter project leader has sent. Now you see the beauty of the letter, which is marked in red. You read only the lines, it is written in red. Bob Smith, my assistant programmer, can always be found wasting company time talking to colleagues. Bob never finishes given assignment on time. Often Bob takes extended breaks. Bob is a dedicated individual who has absolutely no knowledge in his field. I firmly believe that Bob can be dispensed with. Consequently, I duly recommend that Bob be sent away as soon as possible. See, this is steganography. So in the original letter, he is looking a different way, but actual assessment is marked in red, where the secret data is hidden. So this is a popular slide, which normally I use every day, which I got in a workshop which I had attended. So my acknowledgements to that workshop, which is a beautiful 3-slide, which gives a fair knowledge about the steganography. I think you enjoyed that. Steganography can be classified into protection against detection, data hiding, or protection against removal. Best example is watermarking. Document marking, it is called as. All objects are marked in the same way. Suppose I am using a college logo, that is watermarked. Fingerprinting identifies all objects. Every object is marked in a very specific way. So this is the essence of steganography. So I'll not be dealing much details on authentication. It's this different area where I told you already how the user signs the message using their private key. Then it encrypts with the recipient's public key with both secrecy and authentication. So I told you authentication is classified into message authentication and user authentication. So digital signatures are used to maintain user authentications. There is something called as MAC, message authentication code, where it is appended as a signature. So receiver performs some same computation on the message and checks whether it matches the MAC, So this is the message authentication procedure, where message is encrypted using the key. That key is the signature, whatever you are generating, you are appending that. Later, once again, using the same message, you recompute the message authentication code, compare whether the concatenated MAC matches. Then only you accept it. There is something called as hash functions. They condense arbitrary message into fixed size. But hash functions are not using any key. They are often used to create the digital signature. See, this is how it is done. First, the message hash is computed. After that, signature is generated. That is appended with the message. So at the receiving end, as I told you, you decrypt using the public key of the user, and then you will compare with the hash, which is recomputed at the destination. If both matches, the message is accepted. Properties are hash functions are fixed fingerprints, and they are made public. So now I have come to the end of my talk. I will be summarizing. Throughout my 1 hour session or more than 1 hour, I have talked about the computer and network security. I have dealt the information security in detail. I have touched in a detailed way on all the cryptographic algorithms which are available. I have given some fragrance or essence of stegano Finally, I have concluded my talk by talking about something about digital signatures. So thank you for patience listening. Thank you so much for the opportunity given. I thank the principal, management, and the coordinators for providing this nice opportunity to connect with you online. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, sir, for your elaborative description on cryptography and its application. It was very interesting session, sir. Most of our students are enjoyed with this session. Even students are messaging. Yes, sir. If any audience, maybe students or faculty members, any questions from your end? Hello. Okay, sir. Maybe I have one question. What kind of encryption process now ATMs and maybe this net banking and all they are using, sir? Maybe
normally they are using something called as SSPs.
SSPs. Okay, sir.
SSPs, or they are using the standard techniques. Normally their simple mail transfer protocol is there. No, similarly, the SSP techniques are there.
Okay. Okay.
That particular, it's a very standard technique where the information is encrypted using standard available algorithms. They are made it as a protocol.
Okay, sir.
So they are using that.
Earlier, some AES algorithm was using, no, sir?
Earlier they were using AES algorithm. Later the AES algorithm is changed because it is too time consuming. That is why.
And second question, maybe even my students were asking in the message. So that encryption of the image you have shown, sir, for medical application. So what kind of applications we can quote for the real-time situations?
Best example is the medical exam. Suppose some X-ray, your X-ray of the patient, if you are sending,
yes, sir,
it should be transmitted in real time.
Yes,
you cannot take much time, so
yes,
you can use the stream cipher to send that image.
Yes,
X-ray, or maybe in case of defense, military applications, where there is short message is there.
Yes,
for that short message, you cannot use AES or RSE because there are not real-time algorithms. For a very short tactical applications like defense, military, medical image transmission, these ciphers are used.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audience, any questions from your end? Any questions? If no questions, ma'am, Jyoti ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's often said that thankfulness is a beginning of gratitude, and gratitude is a completion of thankfulness. On that beautiful note, I would like to extend my deep sense of appreciation and sincere thank you to Dr. S.V. Sathyanarayana, Professor and HOD, JNNCE College of Engineering, Shimoga, for his excellent presentation on cryptography and its application in data security. This webinar was full of knowledge and gave us deep insight into network security and the basics of cryptographic algorithms as well. Thank you again, sir, for the informative and knowledgeable session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity given.
Thank you, sir. I also wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Nagesh K, Professor and HOD Department of ECE and CET. I extend my heartfelt thank you to Dr. Rohit ECE, Associate Professor, Department of ECE, as well as the convener of this webinar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I may like to express my sincere thank you to Mr. Mahesh M.R., Ms. Sunita M., Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, as well as the coordinators of this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
I take this occurrence to thank the organizing committee and the faculties of ECE Department. Thank you all. I must remark a proficient sense of gratefulness to all the participants of this webinar for such an appreciating involvement and willingness to attend the webinar. Thank you, participants. Thank you all for your patience and cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. Thank you very much, sir. Sathyanarayan, sir. It was very much
Thank you,
enlightening
thank you.
talk. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. ಏನಮ್ಮ